when you were a rookie, and they gave you the option to get that 46 off your jersey, how quick did you want to make that change?
I was an undrafted free agent, so it's funny on the flight. So after the draft, everything worked out. I signed with the Eagles on the flight from Oregon all the way to Philly. The whole time I was there, I was thinking about all these different things, like, hey, I wonder where I'm going to live, like what's going to be like, this and that. And then I started thinking about numbers, and I no lie, I was like, as long as they don't give me number 46, I'll be good. I've always had a thing with that number. I've always felt it's one of the ugliest numbers ever. I met John Hatfield, the equipment guy, and he's issuing everything out, and he gives me the number 46, and I'm like, no. As far as Quintin, I think he's a tremendous young talent. Um, the thing that I love, and he's making a few mistakes, but even when he does make a mistake, he's in the area to at least make a tackle, and that's how you can tell. Number one, a guy has good athleticism and speed. He has a good understanding of the game.
Something I've always wondered about on defense. Do you all ever audible as a defense as the offense shifts?
Under Jim Johnson, a lot of his defense, like he'll have one call or a base call. It's usually the front in the pressure or front with a stunt, and then the coverage part is the end of it. So within his coverages and within a lot of the calls, there's built-in audibles that the secondary and the linebackers and even the front can bake. So it's actually cool. Like one of the main things that we should do a lot is called AFCs, automatic front end coverage. And that means like if the team comes out, like for instance, let's say if you're playing the Eagles and every time Jalen's under center, they run a certain type of play, the entire defense would check to a certain play, or a certain defense that's really built and designed to stop all of the plays that are aligned under center. And then under that same call, if they come out and he's in a shotgun, it checks to a completely different defense in front based on the plays that we've seen during the week.
I don't have any question. But I do want to say that I love your podcast. I love Q&A so much. And just when I'm about to jump off the ledge last week, your podcast last week gave me some hope.
Thank you so much. We both Jason and I, we really appreciate it, and we love doing the podcast. It's just fun. It reminds me. It's funny. It makes me feel like we're back in the locker room, just kind of talking about just current events or football or what happened last week, and it's really been awesome and also therapeutic for me as well.
Now that you're coaching kids yourself, if you look back at your journey, what message do you share with the kids?
I first started coaching right around 2014, 15 when my son started playing, right around the time I retired. So for me at the time, it was a role I had to grow into, and I think Jason was talking about it one time on one of the podcasts where sometimes you gotta get a little bit of time in between when you retire and then when you're back coaching because you can't coach, or it was actually me and a friend talking about this, but you can't really coach the way you played, especially when you're coaching second graders. So for me, I had to go through that through that phase of like, hey, you know, it's okay if the kid, if he's a couple steps off to the left or whatever. So I feel like I've had such a different and weird experience that I can any situation that any of the players are kind of going through, I've in some way, especially on the field, I've in some shape, way, or form, I've dealt with it and been through it.
How do you balance aggressive play calling and then letting your team know, like your defense know, like it's not that I don't trust you. And then how do you balance, like, okay, I want to go for it here, or maybe like you look at analytics, but like gut feeling.
Not to steal a Harbaughism, but I lean on the staff. They help me out a lot. So um, I the way I talk about defense on the show is exactly how I am as a coach. I'm aggressive, and I'm aggressive at certain times. Like I like the pressure. I like blitzes. I like affecting the game. I like making the quarterback feel uncomfortable. I like jumping routes, and so that kind of reflects in the way that I coach. But I'm also able to I'll sit back in that coverage now. I'll disguise the coverage. Like there's a few high school quarterbacks out here that are still trying to figure out some of the coverages that we're running because, a lot of times you don't see that. You see base stuff, but I'm throwing all different kinds of stuff at him.
Blankenship, him being undrafted too, him working his way up the last couple of years. I don't know how you see him fitting in with CJ Gardner-Johnson.
I've always been of the stance of it's not where you get drafted or if you get drafted at all. It's what you do when you get there. Being fortunate enough to play so long in the league, I saw a lot of safeties getting drafted, come and go. And so when it comes to that part, that part, once you're there, it's all what you make of it. And then so when I first got to Philly, one of the first things I always said was like, I thought I was as tall as Doc. He's way bigger than me, and he's way bigger than he looks on TV. I was like, I'll try to be as close as I can to him. I'm gonna follow him. I'm gonna watch all the things that he does, and I'm gonna try to not emulate, but I'll try to learn from the good things that he does. And if he does make mistakes, then I'll try to fix those. So that was that part of it. As far as Reed, I do see a similarity. Now he started way earlier than I did, and it's a lot more difficult when you start early. Like same thing with Quintin. Like you're kind of learning on the run. You're making your mistakes when everyone's watching, and so I kind of was able to hide under the radar and then learn, and then stepped into the role. And I was fortunate. I think I was more fortunate than they are. That being said, Reed is a phenomenal safety. He covers well. He's got really good hands. He's a smart player.
Our new defensive end, Bryce Huff. I'm wondering if there's anything on the tape that you've seen or has popped out that might explain what's going on with his struggles.
I personally don't think it's going to work out. I don't think that this scheme fits him very well. Because in Fangio's defense, he's always had a rush in that can create plays on his own. And I don't think that Huff is that type of player.